Hi, everybody. It's Deborah from PeopleLovingAnimals.com. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching my video today. Today's video is called How to Train a Dog with Treats. Should you use food to train your dog? We are on my website right now called PeopleLovingAnimals.com. This is an article on my website called How to Train Your Dog with Treats. We're going to use this article as our kind of our guideline for today's video so that I don't forget anything. I am going to give you a link to the article in the description box of this video. So if you would like to read it in its entirety, if you would like to click on all the things in it, you can. Otherwise, just sit back. We're going to spend a few minutes and I'm going to give you some really good tips from a professional dog trainer on how to train your dog with treats. And we're going to talk about whether or not you should. And by the way, yeah, the answer is yes. And I'm going to show you how in this video it really is the quickest, most efficient, easiest way to train your dog. And no, that doesn't mean that you're going to end up having to give them treats forever to get them to listen to you. Okay, so just stick with me. I'm going to explain this in the video. I think that nearly every dog owner does ask themselves whether they should use food to train their dog, whether it's an effective dog training tool or if it's just cheating. And like I say, sometimes we do wonder, geez, if I start to train my dog, especially if it's a puppy, with treats, are they going to expect the treat every time? And is that the only way they're ever going to listen to me is because of treats? And it's like, oh, you're not really training your dog because the only reason he's doing it is because you're giving him something. Yeah, the only reason he is doing it is because you're giving him something, but that's how you teach him. That's how you get him to obey you to begin with. And there's a lot of dogs that are just absolutely crazy, especially when they're puppies. And there's no way you're even going to get their attention. There's no way you're even going to get their attention, let alone get them to actually obey you unless you're offering a treat. Okay, so let's just talk about this. Now, like I say, I am offering advice from professional dog trainer Doggy Dan. If you've been on my website before, if you've been on my YouTube channel before, you know that I promote Doggy Dan all the time. He is my favorite dog trainer. He's my number one recommendation on my website, PeopleLovingAnimals.com, for dog training. And he is where I am getting this information from. Okay, so I'm not just making it up. We're getting this from a professional dog trainer. And I will give you the link. You can see it here in this article. If you decide to go here, and I'm also going to give you the link to Doggy Dan. He has a dog training website, and I'm going to give you that link in the description box. Now, according to Doggy Dan, the first myth regarding whether or not you should train your dog with treats is if you train your dog with food, they'll only listen to you when you have food in your hand. This is simply not true. Dogs will listen to you whether you have food or not, even if they were initially trained with treats. The reason that you can start by using food to train your dog is because at first your dog will do absolutely anything you say just as quickly as he can figure out what you're asking if there is a treat to be had. Okay, now the other thing that you have to understand about dog training that I always try to remind people is when you're trying to teach your dog something, 9 times out of 10, a dog will do it if he understands what you're asking of him. Dogs, as a general rule, are people pleasers. They do want to make you happy, and especially if you're offering them a treat, they do want to make you happy. They do want to do what you're asking. Again, like it says in the article, just as quickly as he can figure that out. So just try to be patient, especially with a puppy, that in order to obey you, they have to first figure out what you're asking, okay? And I think one of the big mistakes that people make when they're doing dog training is they give the dog a command and the dog doesn't listen, so they say it louder. He's not going to understand it. If you're speaking to me in French, you can talk as loud as you want. I'm not going to understand you. Do you see what I mean? So if you're giving your dog a command, or if you're trying to show him and he's not getting it, try it a few times. But if he's just not getting it, you got to try a different way to show him. Okay, so that's kind of getting off on a kind of another topic here, but I just want to mention that when you're training your dog with treats, you give him the treat when he obeys, but give him a minute, okay? Because they do need to figure out what it is that you're asking them. Um, Feeding with treats is, in fact, the quickest, most effective way to train your dog, getting him to listen right from the start. Then, once your dog learns to respond to your commands automatically, you simply fade out the treats gradually, offering them less and less often. We're going to talk a little bit more about how to do that later in this video, but for now, let's learn how to use the treats effectively. Okay, if you're going to do this, you might as well get quick results with your dog training. Why take months to do something you can do in weeks or even days? So here's some really good advice from Doggy Dan on how to maximize the use of food treats in training your dog. You may know someone whose dog only listens to them if they offer the dog a treat, or worse, maybe the dog doesn't listen at all, even if a treat is involved. Maybe this is you with your dog. Maybe it seems like the only way to get your dog to listen is to bribe him with a treat, and that just doesn't seem right to you, right? The good news is it doesn't have to be this way. And the solution is not complicated and it's easy. And we're going to go over it right now. 3 simple tricks from a professional dog trainer. And again, I do a little bit of a plug in the article about Doggy Dan. He is a professional dog trainer, behavioral specialist. I will give you, again, I'll give you the link to his website, and I'll try to remember at the end of this video, we'll click over into it and I'll show it to you. Hopefully I won't forget. If I do, the link will be in the description box. You can go and check him out. He has a dog training website. It's all videos, and he has more than 250 videos on the website where you get to actually watch him train a dog. In my opinion, it's the best version of dog training you can possibly get, is to actually watch a professional dog trainer train a dog, and he gives you all the step-by-step ways, and he has videos on every single dog training subject you can think of: house training, biting, aggression. What do you do if your dog rips the couch apart when you're not at home? If they're barking too much, if they won't stay in the yard, if they won't come when they're called, all those sorts of things. So it really is a good resource. Now, I don't want to get off on a tangent. I want to stay with what you came here for. All right, now here's the 3 simple tricks. The first trick is jackpot. Most dogs are motivated and excited by receiving treats of rewards if the size of the treat varies, okay? If you just give them the same old dry milk bone every time, they're not going to be as excited as if you give them something better. In other words, it's better to give your dog a couple of small treats than surprise him with a huge sausage. Yes, you heard that right. He's talking about a sausage, okay? An actual sausage. Now, this doesn't have to be a sausage. It can be a piece of bologna, it can be a little piece of ham, piece of chicken, something good, okay? When you think of sausage, I mean, like, look at this juicy sausage. Like, can you imagine if you're handing your dog little milk bones? Here's the concept, and I think I can just explain this without even reading from this article, is that, say you're teaching your dog to sit and you give him a little milk bone. You teach him to sit and you give him a little milk bone. You teach him to sit, you give him a little milk bone. And he's getting kind of bored with you. Maybe he'll listen to you. Maybe he won't. Maybe he's getting it. Maybe he's not. All of a sudden, jackpot, you pull out a sausage and the dog sits and he gets a sausage. I mean, imagine his delight. But more importantly, not only imagine his delight, but imagine what that dog will do. That dog will throw a new roof on the house if he can figure out how to please you, if he thinks there might be a sausage involved. You see what I mean? So that's why it's super effective. You've got the dog's attention. He thinks you are master of the universe. You're the sausage lady or guy. Do you see what I mean? This is why it is so effective. So one of his top tips of the 3 tips is to start out with small treats and then throw in a big sausage or some, delicious something. You cannot just give your dog the same small, boring treats every time. Maybe a big sausage isn't feasible. Like I said, you could do like a piece of bologna or a piece of chicken or something, but surprise him every few times with something particularly big and yummy. It'll keep him coming back for more in the form of obeying you every single time. Every time you give him a command or you make a request of him, he'll be hopeful that it's the sausage that he's going to get. All right. Now, he's not going to get the sausage every time, but like I say, once he sees the sausage and he knows that's a possibility, he's going to obey every single time. And see, that's the trick with dog training. Dog training is all about repetition. All right. They're little doggy brains. They're not people give dogs too much credit, I think, on how they can think and how they can process. They aren't as smart as us. Dogs don't think like us. They need the repetition. So if you can use treats, and like I say, every once in a while, you're throwing in a big delicious sausage and you're getting him to listen to you every single time. And he's hoping the next one's going to be the sausage. He's hoping the next one's going to be the sausage. It's effective, and it's repetition, repetition, repetition. If your dog will only listen to you every third or fourth time, it's going to be a slow process of trying to train him. You see what I mean? Because it's not repetition. He's not really getting it. He's not memorizing it. It's not becoming automatic for him to respond or obey that command. But if he's doing it every single time, and you used this big juicy sausage as a motivator to get him to do it every single time, you can see how that can make your dog training efforts far more efficient, way faster, and way easier. Okay. The second tip is, what is even better to a dog than a big sausage? 2 big sausages? Good guess. But the answer is actually the same sausage, but cut into 5 or 6 smaller pieces. Okay, so the next time your dog obeys a command, start putting the pieces into his mouth one after the other until the whole sausage is gone. Okay, I'm not talking about, cutting the sausage up in 5 or 6 pieces, and the next 5 times you give him 1 piece. No, the next time he obeys you, you give him all 5 pieces. Let him eat all 5 pieces. Talk about jackpot. Your dog will think he has won the lottery. Receiving piece after piece of this wonderful, tasty treat is beyond rewarding for the dog. Are you getting the idea here? The idea is to build yourself up to be the most wonderful, most delicious creature in the universe in your dog's eyes. You see, this is what you're creating in your dog's little doggy brain. That you're it. That you're it. You're the source. Do you see? And this will last a lifetime, whether you ever give your dog a sausage again, whether you ever give him a milk bone again. But of course you're going to. I mean, you're going to fade this out. You're not going to need sausages in your pockets. You're not even going to need milk bones in your pockets. Once you train your dog, the dog understands your commands and he will obey you. Okay. And then eventually they'll do it just for your affection. And eventually they'll do it just automatically. They're not even saying, oh, wait a minute. Aren't I supposed to get a milk bone when I do that? No, you know what I mean? It all fades out. It becomes a habit. When you say sit, they sit. It becomes a habit. When you call them, they come. It becomes a habit. Once you've trained your dog repetitively, and they've done these things so many times, and they've reacted appropriately, and they've obeyed your command time and time again, it just becomes habit. The treat becomes moot. It becomes irrelevant after a while. Okay. So that's how it works. So that's the second step. The first step is jackpot. Let him experience the sausage. The second step is to cut the sausage in pieces. The next thing he obeys, you give him like an onslaught of sausages, bite after bite after bite. And you are establishing yourself as master of the universe by doing that in your dog's head. The third step is not all treats are created equal. Just like people, dogs have their favorite foods. If you want your dog to obey every time, then find out what floats his boat, or maybe I should say wags his tail. I was kind of a dork when I wrote this article. I'm like cracking myself up. The fact is, there's a huge difference in performance between a dog who's really excited about the reward compared to a dog who's only half interested in the treat. If you just offer a milk bone every time, that's okay. You don't have to break out sausage or chicken every time, but you might want to just like put a little peanut butter on the milk bone sometimes. Again, just sometimes. Make it extra yummy, because the hope of that sometimes extra yummy is going to be what keeps your dog coming back for more. That's what's going to be the thing that keeps him obeying you time and time again, because he's hoping the next treat is going to be yummier. And give him the yummier sometimes, okay? You got to keep him interested. In the article, it says you could put a little peanut butter on a milk bone. You could offer a little piece of chicken, a little piece of bacon, a little piece of cheese. I personally recommend real whole foods as treats for dogs. Some dogs like blueberries. I had a little dachshund who loved blueberries. There are some dog treats that can be harmful to dogs. My understanding is the dog treats that come in the packages that are soft. My understanding is whatever makes them soft isn't really good for dogs. There's a lot of crap in dog food, and there's a lot of crap in dog treats that isn't even good for your dog. So I personally like recommending, real foods. You can give fruits and vegetables. My last two dogs, one was a Boston Terrier, one was a Dachshund. They loved fruits and vegetables. The Dachshund loved blueberries. The Boston's favorite lunch was a tomato. He loved when I would cut him up a tomato. You can get a little broccoli floret out of the fridge, give it to him. Those little baby carrots are really good, although you have to be careful because they're good choke size. Okay. For the dachshund, for example, I would actually chew up the baby carrot and then I would just give it to her in my hand because I didn't want her to swallow the baby carrot because it's kind of the shape of her throat. Do you know what I mean? But those baby carrots are really good dog treats because they also help to clean their teeth. Also, like chickpeas, that little dachshund loved chickpeas. So these are all things just inexpensive. You're not spending the extra money on the dog treats. You're giving them wholesome food, fruits and vegetables. And, if you put a bunch of chickpeas or blueberries or broccoli or carrots or anything in the fridge and you're getting their treat from the fridge, you know what I mean? Becomes more delicious to the dog when it comes out of the fridge. You see what I mean? But I do refer in this article, and I'm going to try to remember to give you the link to this also in the description box. As a matter of fact, I just made a note. I'm going to remember to give you the link to this. There's an article on my website listing the foods that are toxic for dogs. There's a lot of them you may not know about. Okay, you might know about chocolate, for example. Dogs, chocolate is toxic for dogs. There's a whole list. And so I would like you to read that list and educate yourself about what things that dogs can't eat. But other than the things on that list, most fruits and vegetables are okay for your dog. And so just going forward, it's just a good piece of advice. And it's cheaper. It's cheaper than the dog treats. They're just as happy to get them. And, another tip is if your dog eats dry dog food, that's a really good treat. Just put a few of their crunchies in your pocket, give them little pieces of crunchy. They just want something. A lot of dogs, they'll do something they'll do a command, if they're just getting a little crunchy, one of their own pieces of dog food, it's effective. So the bottom line is keep treats healthy and as low fat as possible. Also be careful if you're training your dog with treats, be careful about the calories. And that's another reason I like to suggest fruits and vegetables for your dogs for treats, especially if you have a dog who's overweight. Changing them over from milk bones and all those packaged dog treats to fruits and vegetables for their treat can really help them with the weight loss. And it just helps with their health overall. Fruits and vegetables are really good for dogs, just like they are for people. So that's another tip. Be careful. Keep the calories in mind when you're going through this process of teaching your dog with the treats. Okay. And let's keep in mind here that your end goal will be to fade out the treats over time until they become just random rewards. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how do you fade it out. Okay. You've used it. You've done the big sausage trick. You've got your dog thinking you're the master of the universe. He's listening to you every single time. He's learned how to sit. He's learned how to come when he's called. He's learned how to sit in the car, whatever you were trying to train your dog. You've used the treats with these steps that Doggy Dan gives us and you've taught your dog. So now you need to fade out the food. It says by now you're probably wondering if you'll have to give your dog endless treats from now until eternity if you want him to obey. This couldn't be further from the truth. You just need to understand how to fade out the treats over time. Now here's a dog that's just loves his mommy. They'll come to you in the park for a big smooch. That's what it comes down to eventually. Because you know what? In the big picture, we are it for our dogs. It's not true of every single dog, but it's true of most dogs. Their favorite thing in the universe is you. It is, your attention, the time you spend playing with you, they love us so much. So to begin fading out the food, start by giving your dog the treat from inside your hand so he can't see it. Then slowly start to reward the food every second time he obeys you, and then every third time, every fourth time, and so forth. So you just eventually, you start to fade that out. One time when he sits, he gets a treat. The next time when he sits, he doesn't get a treat. 2 times after that, he sits, he gets a treat. But remember not to rush this. Fading out the treats should happen very slowly over a period of months. All right, that's the suggestion from Doggy Dan. Fade it out over a period of months, not days. Eventually, you'll end up only giving the treat every 5th time, every 10th time, every 20th time. You don't need to actually count, but you get the idea. Like, it becomes fewer and further between until eventually the dog only receives a treat every now and then. The fact is, by this point, like we talked about, you've accomplished training your dog. They listen now. They understand the commands, and it's automatic for them to listen. You say sit, they understand what you mean, and they do it. Okay, whether or not there's a treat involved, the treat has become irrelevant. They understand what you're asking and they obey, just because it's become a habit too. All right, myth number 2, you shouldn't have to give treats in order for your dog to listen to you. This attitude seems to be most popular with people who have never owned a dog, they've never trained a dog, or worse, people who think that you need to use a lot of force, fear, or aggression in dog training. This approach is very old school. It's stupid, and it's abuse. All right. You should never have to lay a hand on your dog. You should never have to yell at your dog. You should never have to be harsh with your dog. You should never have to be abusive to your dog. There are effective ways to train your dog without doing those things. The fact is, every dog is different. Some dogs are happy to do anything that you ask just to please you. Other dogs, just your affection and your attention may well be enough. And then other dogs are continuously thinking about their next meal. That's the dog who is going to learn about 100 times faster if you're offering treats. Dogs who are extremely active, who run around like crazy at the dog park, for example, most definitely will need food treats to even get their attention for 2 seconds, let alone trying to train them. Whenever I think about that, I don't know why this comes to mind, but boxers come to mind. For some reason, in my experience, boxer puppies, oh, they're just ridiculous. They're just ridiculous. They're all over the place. You can barely get their attention. And a boxer puppy, if you're not training your boxer puppy, that thing, they'll eat your kitchen rug. You know what I mean? They're big enough. They got big jaws. Even as puppies, they can do some real damage. And boy, if you get a boxer puppy, it's a handful. And I don't mean to pick on that breed. It just comes to mind that I don't know, when I picture these puppies that are like all over the place and you can't even get their attention, you can't get them to do anything, you're like exasperated, you're at the end of the road. I always picture a boxer puppy. I don't know why I do that, because there are certainly other breeds that are just as ridiculous as puppies. But that's just another example of how training with treats can be effective, because when you have a dog that's, we're talking about the 5-6 month old range where they're just all over the place, they're ridiculous. You're going to need a treat just to get the dog's attention, let alone to try to start training with them. Okay. Food is always going to be the number one reward for most dogs. Most dogs do enjoy food. They'll work for food. They'll do things for food. And it can be quite effective. It is, like we've said about 3 times now, Doggy Dan says it is the easiest, most effective, fastest way to teach your dog to listen. Hopefully this article has made you understand the truth in that. You train with treats, and then you eventually fade the treats out where they become just random rewards now and then. And it really is that fast and easy and effective. Now, if you need more help with this issue or any other issue, like I said, I'm going to give you the link for Doggy Dan's online dog trainer website. Hey, let's go there. Let me click on one of these links. I'll just show it to you real quick. It's called the Online Dog Trainer. And like I said, he's got more than 250 videos. This is Doggy Dan. And like I said, he's not only a dog behavioral specialist, and he has video training for absolutely every issue that you can think of when it comes to dog training. So when you enter his site, he'll ask you, what's the problem with your dog? What kind of help do you need or whatever? And he's got, list of solutions. He's got a podcast. He's got all kinds of stuff. And I'll just tell you the prices real quick. I don't want to just be cheesy and try to sell you this, but I just want to give you the information, because if you're here watching this video, then obviously you're looking for some help with dog training. And I just really think that Doggy Dan is, he's your best bet. He really is. He really does a good job of teaching people how to train their dogs. He does have a 3-day trial on his website for $1. If you sign up, you pay $1 and you get 3 whole days where you can watch everything on his website. You can watch as many videos as you can watch about dog training in those 3 days. If you decide to continue, it's a monthly membership. I believe it's $37 a month. If you buy like a 6-month membership, it's cheaper. And if you have a puppy, you might want to consider a 6-month membership because you're going to be doing all the training, potty training, how to come when they're called, how to leash train, everything. You're going to be doing everything. So if you have a puppy and you're looking to get help with dog training, I would suggest a 6-month membership with Doggy Dan and take your time and go through the puppy training. So anyway, this is what it is. And again, you can pay the monthly fee of $37 and, at the end of the month, if you're done, you just cancel it. Okay. You don't have to stay on for any length of time and you go in and you stay as long as you want until you have the training that you need. And then you can go ahead and cancel your membership. But I do highly recommend him. Just a couple more things before we leave. First of all, I donate to animal charities. If you've been here before, you know about this. I have this website, peoplelovinganimals.com, and now I have this fairly new YouTube channel to go along with it. And I am an affiliate for lots of stuff having to do with pets. I do get a small commission if you sign up for the training with Doggy Dan. Some other things on my website you can see here. I'm an affiliate for this cat training program. I'm an affiliate for 2 different pet health insurance companies. What I do is I research these topics and then I choose the products and services that I think are the best. And those are the ones that I recommend. I look for not only the best prices, but the best quality and all these sorts of things. And so whenever I'm not every time I'm referring, because a lot of times I refer you to certain products or services that I don't get a commission for. I'm just referring because I believe it's the best thing to do. I believe it's a product or service that's going to help you, and I don't get a commission. But a lot of them I do get a commission. That's how I make a living at this. I do, in fact, make a living as an affiliate marketer with my website, peoplelovinganimals.com. I give 10% of all the commissions that I earn on the People Loving Animals website and also on this YouTube channel to animal charities. Okay, so I give you the link here in this article. If you want to see a list of the animal charities that I donate to, you can click that link, or you could also just go right to the homepage of my website, peoplelovinganimals.com, and you'll see a list of the animal charities that I donate to. All right, now a couple more things. In the description box of this video, I'm going to give you a link to this article that we used for the video today in case you want to read it or review it or even print it to use as a reference. I'm also going to give you the link to Doggy Dan. I'm also going to give you a link to that article listing the foods that are poisonous to dogs. And I'm also going to give you a link to sign up for my Dog Lovers email list. When you sign up for the Dog Lovers email list, first you get a free gift, which is a little dog training manual from Doggy Dan. And then you get an email from peoplelovinganimals.com every 5 or 7 days with either a new article or a new blog post or a new video all about dogs. You can unsubscribe from that list at any time, but I think you'll find it to be pretty valuable. I've been doing this since 2015. I have hundreds. I have hundreds of articles and now videos all about the health, the care, and the training of dogs and cats. Okay, so I would love to have you on board as a subscriber to my Dog Lovers email list. I would also love it if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel. I am trying to grow. If you would please give this video a like, hit the thumbs up if you found it to be helpful. That really helps YouTubers when you do that. And one last request, I'm asking you to please share my website and my YouTube channel with other dog and cat lovers that you know for a few reasons. One is that I want to be able to continue to do this for a living and just keep helping animals. That's what I set out to do when I started the website. I also want to keep donating. I want to keep donating month after month after month as a result of my website and my YouTube channel to animal charities. And obviously, I want to help people. So specifically, if you know someone who's maybe having a problem with one of their animals, if they're having a dog who bites or a cat who won't go in the litter box or dog who barks too much, or a new puppy that they don't know how to train, or anything like that, please refer them to my website, because chances are I've already done an article or a video that could help them a lot. Okay. And I really would appreciate it if you would share it. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this video was what you hoped it would be. I hope it gave you some really good advice. And again, thanks so much for watching. And my name is Deborah, and my website is peoplelovinganimals.com. Thanks again so much. Bye-bye.